The number of Americans who worry about their standard of living during retirement has hit an all-time high, and for good reason. 45% of us have yet to put even a dime away for retirement. But building your own nest egg isn't impossible. Just ask 34-year-old Matt Lowther.
Retirement wasn't really in the forefront of my mind. I knew I wanted a retirement plan. I just had no idea what it would look like.
Like many of us, Matt had little personal finance experience. He had options for retirement plans, investment opportunities, and savings plans, but didn't know where to start.
Personal finance wasn't something that you talked about. To me, it felt like going to a horse track and you're picking the horses. I had to make a decision when I was 26 that was going to affect me when I was 60, 65, and beyond.
Matt didn't have a lot of time for something that was years down the road, but he knew it was important, so he began to look for trustworthy resources to help him make a decision.
I basically started reading. A lot of this stuff is very eye-opening, and it was very basic level information that I was able to build upon just by reading.
Janet Bodner is the editor of Kiplinger's Personal Finance magazine. As she sees it, a gradual approach is key.
You just need the basics and then build on those basics. Think of it as building blocks that you're building on really throughout your life. You don't have to know everything when you're 21 years old.
I didn't have any special skills or any special knowledge. I sought out the knowledge.
There's multiple ways to invest, and it's a personal decision. So when you read maybe a couple books, a couple websites, it gives you a nice broad array of information on different investing topics, and then you narrow it down to determine what's best for you.
One mistake that young people make is thinking that they don't have enough money. You do not have to have a lot of money to invest. You can start with $20 a paycheck. With time on your side, the small amounts that you contribute when you're young grow into huge amounts by the time you're ready to retire.
That's because you have time on your side. Each year's growth can generate its own growth the next year. A powerful wealth-building process called compounding. Think of it as a snowball. A small snowball like this starts to build over time as it collects other snow. The longer you roll the snowball, the more snow it collects.
You can put a little away now, and it'll end up being more than if you put a whole lot away later.
Let's say Matt invests $2,000 every year. For simplicity, we will use a round number like a 10% gain from interest. From age 25 to 35, Matt invests for 10 years, but then he stops investing. He doesn't spend it, he leaves it there until he retires at 65. Meanwhile, Edward starts at age 35 and invests the same amount as Matt of $2,000, again at that same round number of 10% a year until he is 65. Edward has contributed a total of $60,000 over 30 years, while Matt only contributes a total of $20,000 over 10 years. Edward has invested $40,000 more than Matt, but Matt will have more money when it comes time for retirement because Matt had a longer time period for compounding on his interest, dividends, and money. Matt would have over $612,000, and Edward would only have $362,000. A difference of $250,000. The interest for Edward would be about $302,000. Matt's 10-year investment will pay him more than $592,000 in interest. If Matt continued to invest throughout his working career, he would have a grand total of $974,000 at retirement. That is $612,000 more than Edward, showing the importance of investing early and continuing to invest. Unlike the 45% of Americans who have saved nothing toward retirement, zero.
You don't need to have a finance major in school. You just need to make sure you take the time to read a couple books, go on a couple websites, but look at a couple different sources to learn some of the basics for investing.
The earlier you start, the easier it is the older you get. The worst thing you can do is nothing.
Find out more by visiting wi65.org or follow us on Facebook and Twitter.